This young man sat in my office with his mom and told me he was leaving because he knew he could play here and he had to go prove it. He left and went to a junior college in Mississippi and won a championship there, and then turned around and we had to give him another chance here, and we kept telling him he was a 3. And the guy kept saying, no, I'm not. I'm good enough to start. I'm good enough to play. And he did just that. And he's the greatest dog of all time, in my opinion.
Always College Football with Greg McElroy is presented by AT&T 5G. Too much college football is never too much with AT&T 5G. Wow. I mean, wow. We're still here. Confetti's still raining down, literally and figuratively, because there's got to be holes in the roof here at SoFi Stadium. What a dominant performance from the Georgia Bulldogs. It was as complete as I've ever seen in a championship setting. Now, some blowouts do come to mind, naturally. You think about when Miami took care of business against Nebraska. You think about when Bama beat up on Kubiak's Notre Dame. There have been several examples in which things have gotten sideways, but never to that extent. It was a clinic in every possible way. And if there's one way to sum it up, it might be a little bit scary when you really look ahead and see who's coming back for this Georgia football team. So, let's break down the national championship. We'll hear from the national championship winner, Kirby Smart, in just a little bit. But before we do, we always talk about it. Presented by AT&T 5G. All right, this thing got sideways quickly. Let's talk a little bit about the opening possession of the game. 3 and out for TCU. A little bit surprised, to be honest with you, that they didn't try to do a little bit of the quarterback movement stuff. I was very disappointed in their offensive plan. Now, look, how are you going to be able to manufacture yards, points, touchdowns, plays? How are you going to be able to do that if you can't block them? And I thought what we talked about last week with Georgia's performance against Ohio State, what did we talk about as far as their pass rush is concerned? We said they were coming in out of control and they weren't finishing. Well, they finished tonight over and over and over and over again, because when they were rushing the quarterback, and there were several times in which they were unblocked, they were able to close on Max Duggan and never really allowed his escapability to come to the forefront. Defensive front 7 was ridiculous. I thought there might be a possibility of TCU being able to create some advantages as far as team speed. Not only was Georgia faster, but they were significantly more powerful at the point of attack. They never really missed a gap, and you really think about the only points that TCU created, it was because Georgia busted a coverage and rolled the wrong direction, which allowed Darius Davis down the left sideline for the big play that ultimately set up the Max Duggan touchdown. When we think about this game, we're going to remember Stetson Bennett's performance, but we do not need to lose sight of what they did on defense, because they were awesome. All 3 levels, closing on the football, unbelievable coverage in the back end. You think about those TCU receivers. Y'all, they were blanketed the entire day. The separation for Max Duggan, he didn't have his best stuff. No chance whatsoever. But if you think about the separation, man, there wasn't a whole lot there. I thought the most separation he got all night, for the most part, with the exception of the blown coverage down the left sideline, might have been on the first play of the game. When he rolled to his right, he had a receiver open, and he missed him just a little bit too wide. And from that point forward, you felt as though this thing was going to snowball. Moving over to Georgia offensively, this has probably been the most impressive performance we've seen all season long. Now, you think about what they've done at times, they've been very good. The Oregon game in week 1 comes to mind, naturally, but there have been so many times in which Georgia has had some ups and downs. Maybe Stetson Bennett gets a little too keyed in on a wide receiver. Maybe he picks and predetermines where he's going to go with the football. He did none of that tonight. I thought Todd Monken did a phenomenal job of mixing run-pass. I thought he did an incredibly good job of being able to create with play action. I think it's been so much fun to watch this offense grow and develop under Stetson Bennett's leadership. He was poised, he was accurate, and he understood what he needed to do within the offense to ultimately give them another national championship. If you look at how he was able to go through his progressions, yes, he threw into some contested catch situations, but there were also times where he could have forced the issue, and he resisted that urge, taking checkdowns, taking outlets, and being really smart as he was going throughout the progression. You could tell that the Georgia staff had really drilled into Stetson by telling him, hey man, the only way we lose this game is if we give TCU the short field. He was so good throughout the course of the game and caps off what's been a remarkable career. I can't tell you how proud I am of where he is now as a player compared to where he started. Overcoming the doubt, overcoming the naysayers, and finding a way to continue to put his team in very positive situations. He's a playmaker. I think he's a superstar. Some have already said he's the greatest player in Georgia history. I don't know if I'm going to go that far. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I'll let you Georgia Bulldog fans decide what your Mount Rushmore looks like. But I can tell you this, Stetson Bennett is most definitely on it alongside Herschel Walker and many others. As far as Kirby Smart is concerned, what I was so impressed with, man, this dude, I don't care, he didn't smile until there was 1 minute and 27 seconds left on the clock. The guy would not quit. 60 minutes in the ball game, from start to finish. His team played that way, he coached that way, and he now at the age of 47 already has 2 national championships with many, many more to come. What does this mean for 2023? Y'all, if you really look at the Georgia Bulldogs roster and you look at some of the key pieces that will depart, there are a handful for sure. We'll break this down. We have 8 months, y'all, before we kick off college football season again. So we will preview the Georgia Bulldogs up and down for the next 8 months. But when you just take a quick glance down that roster, 1 through 125, there's a lot of FRs and SOs that were playing pivotal roles in this national championship run. It's one of the best teams we've ever seen. It's one of the best performances we've ever seen. And I don't think we're ever going to forget the dominance that was on display here in Los Angeles, California. Let's Talk About It is brought to you by AT&T 5G. Too much college football is never too much with AT&T 5G.
Every college football season, Goodyear knows the importance of winning on the road. The road will always demand confidence, the confidence to handle whatever the journey brings and to perform under tough conditions. And just like the players and the fans of college football, Goodyear is ready. Are you ready for the road? Visit Goodyear.com to find the right Goodyear tires for whatever road you're on this season. Goodyear, more driven.
All right, we will get to where Georgia is right now as a program in just a moment. But before we do, let's quickly hear from the 2-time national championship head coach, Kirby Smart.
You told this team to leave no doubt. How did they do that with this dominant performance today?
Really aggressive plan, not holding back anything. We wanted our kids to play without fear. And all year I told them, I said, we ain't getting hunted, guys. We're doing the hunting, and hunting season's almost over. We only got one more chance to hunt, and we hunted tonight.
Back-to-back national championships, the first time that's ever happened in the college football playoff era. Why could this team get that done?
Because they had a will to work. They didn't listen to what everybody said about them, and everybody doubted them to start the year, and that chip on the shoulder was just big enough to create an edge for our team, because every time they got doubted, they came out fighting.
Speaking of chips on shoulders, Stetson Bennett's career here has been full of obstacles and triumph. What has he meant to you? What has he meant to this program?
Well, he's meant a lot to me personally because of what he's gone through and what he's put up with from the outside noise. But to this university, for a kid that was told he wasn't good enough, to come back and win 2 national championships, and he's really phenomenal. I mean, he did some things tonight that are just electric, and he's one of a kind. He's a special football player, and he should get many opportunities to keep playing.
Coach, how has Georgia become one of the most benchmark programs in college football?
just hard work. I mean, we don't run from work. Our kids don't run from work. We go out there on Tuesday, Wednesday, and we hit the other day, and all the kids were like, Coach, we got to keep doing it. It's who we are. And as long as you don't have entitlement in your program, you got a shot. And right now we don't have that. It's creeping. Games like tonight make it that way, but we got a lot of humble guys.
All right, congratulations on the win, Coach.
Thank you so much to Georgia fans that came out. Awesome.
Now that you've accomplished back-to-back championships, how do you describe the legacy that this team leaves?
This Bulldog Nation leaves a legacy for coming all the way out to Cali and representing our home university and our state. These kids have been unbelievable all year. People have doubted them since the start of the year, and the staff, the organization, everybody's done a tremendous job.
When you think about what it took to keep the focus going and the difficulty, which you know better than anyone else, how difficult it is to repeat, what quality did this team show that allowed them to do that?
A lot of grit, a lot of toughness, but the word we use around our place is connection. Every one of our guys know we stay connected, we're hard to beat.
You're hard to beat tonight. That was as good a championship performance as we've seen in any sport in a long time and perhaps ever. Kirby, congratulations. And I guess the way things are going the last couple of years, we'll see you in Houston next year.
Go Dogs.
From walk-on to hero, he now is the proud owner of 2 national championship rings and one of the best winning percentages in the history of the Southeastern Conference. Let's take a listen to Heisman finalist Stetson Bennett.
You took a moment as this game is winding down to look up and soak in this moment. What is washing over you right now, Stetson?
I don't know. I don't know, man. I have no clue. Champion, so the whole damn world, man. I don't know. Just trying to see everybody for the last time, hug everybody. Try not to cry, I don't know.
Early in this game, you ran it in. You used your legs twice. How did you set the tone for your team in this moment?
We knew with their defense that my legs were going to be a part of it. Monk made 2 great calls, and I just trusted it and went out there, and they made blocks. And I didn't get touched on both ones, so I don't know.
Coaches talked to you when you walked off the field. There was a moment that the entire crowd is on their feet cheering for you, giving you a curtain call in a national championship game. That doesn't happen often. What did you think when that happened?
It does not happen. It does not happen with Coach Smart, I can tell you that. That was special. I'll remember that for the rest of my life.
He pulled you in and whispered something in your ear. What did he tell you?
He just told me he loved me, and just the journey that we've been through together. And that dude right there, Rich, golly. Just seeing everybody who was here from when I got here, and they're still here, and we're back to back. I don't know,
For a kid from Blackshear, Georgia, what do you say to your hometown, all the people there who have believed in you from the very beginning?
Well, it's God's country. It's the greatest place on earth, and it made me who I was today. That Blackshear, Nahunta, I gotta give Nahunta a shout out too. I love those people. The Herons and the Bears, baby. They made me who I was, and I can't wait to get back there.
All right, so great to hear from those guys, man. What a performance they had tonight on the biggest possible stage, leaving absolutely no doubt from start to finish.
When you're drafting your fantasy team, do you ever wish you could do the same thing with your business team? If you're building a roster to win the league, you need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Don't spend hours on multiple job sites looking for candidates with the right skills when you can do it all with Indeed. Hate waiting? Indeed's U.S. data shows 80% of the Indeed employers find quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job. Join over 3 million businesses worldwide using Indeed to hire great talent fast. Indeed knows hiring needs to be cost-effective when you're running your own business. Visit Indeed.com/always to start hiring now. Indeed.com/always. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application pricing not available for everyone. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
All right, final thought. So much of the conversation will now forward into the offseason, and we're going to be talking a little bit about what is the gold standard in college football. For a long, long, long time, it's been Alabama. Since 2009, it's been Alabama. I think it's very appropriate at this moment, knowing that we are in a different era of college football. Bama might be back, Ohio State might be back. Both those teams next year could very easily bring home a national championship. But right now, the college football world revolves around the Georgia Bulldogs, and partly because when you think about where they're at, and we talk a lot about portal, guys leaving, guys coming in, movement, stability, culture. Think about the Georgia Bulldogs. Think about how many guys have either left and or entered their roster from the portal. Yes, coming up in 2023, they've gone out, they've gotten a couple wide receivers. They're going to be a huge part of the offense next year. But Georgia has not been a program that has relied heavily on the transfer portal. They live with the high school recruiting, and they live with the development aspect of it, just like the good old days. And that's why I think right now their program is on the strongest footing, and compared to really anybody in college football. And honestly, in some ways, it's really not that close. I think when you think about what they might have at quarterback in future years, whether it's Brock Vandergrift, whether it's Carson Beck, I think all of us that have watched those guys, whether it be in high school, in spring games, in mop-up duty, even tonight when we watch Carson Beck take the field, I think we all look at that and say, you know what, I think they're going to be okay at quarterback, but we know they're going to be pretty good at wide receiver. We know they're going to be excellent at tight end. We know they're going to be great at running back. But guess what? The recruiting class that will fill those voids down the road, also great. I think Kirby Smart right now has really done a great job of acknowledging what's won in the past can still win. Yes, the portal, it does feel in some ways like a get-rich-quick solution, and it can be very effective. Look at TCU. They wouldn't be in the national championship game if not for the addition of so many different guys via the portal. But Georgia's the national champion and relied very little on the portal and probably won't rely on it very much in the future as well. I think Georgia's the gold standard at the moment. What does that mean for 23? What does that mean for 24? What does that mean for 25? Does it mean Kirby Smart's going to win 10 in a row? I'm not going to go that far, but knowing that the 12-team playoff is coming, and Georgia is always going to have a highly competitive roster. They could lose 2 or 3 games in the regular season, probably still make it in the college football playoff, and then by the time you get in, punch your ticket, hey man, the rest is up to you. So I think Georgia is well positioned right now to win not just at least 1 more, at least 2 more, but they're well positioned to be in the mix every single year for the foreseeable future. They are the top program in America right now, and everybody is looking up at Kirby Smart. Y'all, we cannot tell you how much we appreciate what you guys have done for us this whole season. It's been magical, it's been fun, it's been a challenge. We don't know what the heck we're doing, but we're trying. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed it along the way. I was able to visit with so many people in the stands today saying, hey man, we love Always College Football. Thanks for covering the sport the way you do. Well, from us at Always College Football to y'all, thank you for loving the sport the way you do. We would not have this platform if not for the love that you guys have for the sport that I think has no rival in the United States of America. We are so grateful to you, and we will continue, I promise, even though the season's over, we're not going anywhere. We'll be back tomorrow even with a full show, continuing to look back at what was the 2022 college football season. But for all of us, our incredible crew out here in California, for Jack Schrail, Jack Foster, Mark Kubiak, I'm Greg McElroy. This has been Always College Football with Greg McElroy, presented by AT&T 5G. Too much college football is never too much with AT&T 5G.